Once again, first I'd like to thank you for having us up here this afternoon. Mr. Dale hit on a good point. I'd like to hit on a good point. He's in the school system now, talking to some of these, some of the youth. If elected, I want, and I tell everyone this, I do not want to police our youth in the schools. I want to assist the schools with educating our youth, not only about drugs, but about other crimes and criminal activity, domestic disputes, problems in the home, as well as drugs. We also discussed the policies and procedures. And I believe that it's important for whoever is elected as sheriff. Mr. McCoy says training in different areas is important. That is extremely important. If I'm elected, one of the first things that I'm going to do, hopefully Mr. McCoy is still around, and Mr. Walton, if I'm elected, is get with them. That's like 55 years of law enforcement experience at the Sheriff's Department. But each employee needs to be evaluated to determine their strengths, their weaknesses. Mr. Dale stated there needs to be an evaluation system. Every agency should have an evaluation system. Every agency should have up-to-date policies and procedures. And when you deal with a sheriff's department, for example, Pocahontas Sheriff's Department, you have uniformed personnel, you have civilian personnel, you have animal control, home confinement. There's just so many areas, and there needs to be some policies and procedures for each section or division. There needs to be some supervision. And like I said, with Mr. McCoy, Mr. Walton, that's 55 years of experience there. Add another 25. If I'm elected, that's a lot of law enforcement knowledge there. Also, we talked about the larceny of the officer. I was on the Civil Service Commission for a brief period of time, for about a year. You can terminate. It's just another process, is the Civil Service Commission. But if elected to sheriff, I will work hard for the people of the county. I will work with the people of the county. Appreciate your support.
Time, sir. Thank you. Mr. Dale, go ahead.
I think we lose sight of probably one of the most important things that the sheriffs of West Virginia do, and that's collect taxes. Last year we collected $6.5 million in taxes. That has to be collected, invested, and dispersed with the constitutionally mandated officers of the courthouse. About 60% of those taxes go to the school system. You cannot mess that up, people. That is very, very important to this county. As I've said before, I've ran large institutions in this county with a lot of in this state with a lot of employees and big budgets. Huttonsville, again, almost $7 million. I want to use the drug forfeiture laws in our state to get the big drug pushers that are selling drugs to our folks in this county. Let me give you an example. When I was sheriff before, arrested a big drug dealer. Troy, you were in on that. A big drug dealer here in Pocahontas County. We rolled him. What I mean by that is we didn't let him off, but we rolled him and we got his source, which was in Greenbrier County. We rolled him and we got a fellow in Allegheny County, Virginia, in Covington by the name of Victor Cucci. He was a large drug dealer. From there, we was able to roll him and got a fellow in New York City by the name of Cavello, one of the biggest drug busts that come out of that region. Now this is a win-win situation. Not only are we going to take the drug dealers off the street, but we're also going to forfeiture their assets and put it back in the budget. I did that. I did that a lot. We bought new cars. We used it for overtime, all kinds of equipment. We put it back in the county budget. When you're working drugs, it's like going down to Greenbrier River and find some kind of pollutant that's in the water. It's right there in front of you. You can test it, it's there. But you have to go to the source of that pollution. You might have to go upriver a ways. And that's what you've got to do if you're going to work drugs in this county and in this state. I appreciate your vote, and I appreciate Allegheny Radio. I was on the board of directors for about 4 years, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCoy.
I also appreciate you guys having us here tonight. I just wanted to mention a few things, some of the goals that I have that I would like to see in place if elected sheriff. As I've traveled around the county trying to visit with as many of the citizens as possible, the number one question on everybody's mind that comes to me is what are you going to do with the drug problem? What are you going to do about the drug problem in the county? So that's something that we definitely need to reduce. It's something that we can't eliminate. We can reduce it, but that's going to take working with other law enforcement agencies, working with the judicial officers, working with community service agencies, and to be quite honest, it's law enforcement's feeling that there's a little bit of a breakdown in the judicial system as far as the punishment phase is seen to be taken away from that. I'm not opposed to some of the alternative sentencing that takes place within the county, but oftentimes you see the same people getting arrested over and over and over again, and at some point that has got to stop. There's got to be a punishment phase put back into the judicial system if we're going to make a lasting effect on that problem. Something else I would like to see is the deputies working, or at least some of the deputies working in the schools with the school children, educating them on the dangers of drug use. I would prefer to have a DARE program to put back in the schools, but if that's a program that we can't get, I would at least like to have deputies going in periodically and meeting with the students and doing some training and education with the students about those dangers. Would also like to see at some point, if we can make it happen, would be certainly in favor of having a pro officer at high school or a prevention resource officer to do the same thing, to do training at the school, at the high school level. To answer a couple questions that Mr. Barlow brought up about policies and procedures, we do have policies and procedures in effect at the Sheriff's Department. Some of those policies are due to be updated. We do the 8 daily activity reports. That's something that's being done. But there are some policies and procedures that need to be looked at and need to be updated. That's something that I also intend to do if elected sheriff. And the other comment that I would make is that all my experience has been Sheriff's Department experience. I've been with that department 26 and a half years. I'm the second longest serving deputy in the history of the department, and I think that experience will help me effectively take over and lead the department forward. Thank you.